All right. Am I live? Looks like I am. All right. Am I live? Yep, I'm alive. All right. So here we have it's December 11th, Friday. It's 8 o'clock. So I'm doing a thing on Facebook Live. I'm just doing a live chat every night because I can, because I have the equipment to do so. And I have a big mouth, and that's all I have. I'd say how's everybody doing, but there's nobody the fuck up here. So, I keep saying, hey, if where is everybody? It's a Friday night, so you all should be home, right? You all shouldn't be out carousing because, fucking there's a plague out there. But anyway, yeah. So like I said, I'm just doing these things, and people can come up and chat or not. I'm gonna chat for an hour or so on my own, at least, and if people show up, that would be awesome. Every night the idea is to try and maybe have some sort of a theme to talk about or whatever. Was that usually at pains to figure that out, So I try to leave it until almost last minute to see if I can make it work. And one of the things I was thinking of doing, which I might not do, probably not going to do tonight, but I might try tomorrow or at another point in the future, is basically working on some production stuff. If I can make it work technically, so that people can hear what I'm doing live, and just for shits and giggles, and just because I can, like I said, because I have the technology. So I'm seeing that there has been movement in the Supreme Court. So I guess first things first, I don't necessarily want this chat to become political in general, but it certainly can. So far, I've tried to stray away from it a bit because most people know me online anyway. Whoever my friends who know my political proclivities, say that 3 times fast. And I'm pretty vociferous about it, I guess, when on the day of the election, when it was very clear that there was a pretty overwhelming sort of majority to change things around, I felt like I had to put my face to my words, because it's very easy to sort of be the armchair patriot, online, just kind of typing a lot of stuff and not really owning up to that stuff that you type. And also just to make sure that people understand that I'm not a bot in any way, shape, or form. But that said, it is a highly charged political time, between what's going on with the election now, the past 4 years of hell, the fact that the past 4 years of hell have ended with a year of plague. There's a joke going around. It's like, it's a meme. It's a picture of Groucho Marx with, what's her name there? Rittenhouse. Oh God, forgetting the actress's name. Wow, yeah, just spacing out on that. Anyway, it's a meme of Groucho Marx with the woman who used to be his foil in the Marx Brothers movies, and she basically says Donald Trump was sent by God, and Marx and Groucho goes, "Why did he run out of locusts?" It's kind of perfect. And you can totally hear them saying it in their voices, which So yeah, there's that. Um, so, it's just the fucking entertainment. I mean, it's entertainment. I mean, the fact that calling it entertainment is sort of trite and pithy for those people, who are handling what they're handling on a daily basis. I have the luxury of sitting around in my house doing this thing when there are people in the hospitals trying to take care of COVID patients, putting their lives on the line for people who don't give a fuck, for, people that don't think that any of this is real and that it's a hoax, and they're literally dying with a fucking tube down their throat, and they think it's all a hoax, and they still think it's a hoax, and it's all, just like, okay, zombie go away now, so I mean there comes a point where the zombie, you just have to kind of let it go, let them go, there's no pulling them back. There comes a point where there's no pulling them back. It's got to be on them to make the move to say, hey, maybe we were bamboozled here. And there's a few. You see a few of them, a few people, on the right. So I backtracking. I think it's going to be political tonight. So it is. So anyway, so just before I went live tonight, it came down that the Supreme Court, of course, shot down the friggin' the ridiculous lawsuit from Trump and Paxton there from Texas to basically just throw the election away, throw it all out. There's all this corruption. We can't show you what it is because you can't find it. It's you can't see the actual fraud and corruption, but it's there, boy. I tell you right, it's there. But we can't show you what it is. I mean, just there comes a point where it's just like, okay, we've sort of let you do this for 4 fucking years, where you just say shit, and we let you get away with it, and dumb people believe whatever it is you say, and because your attention spans are so fucking short, that 2 weeks later, when you haven't produced any results or any proof or anything, people have forgotten, and then they don't ask you about it. Well, things are different now. So you have no proof. There is no proof. Everybody on the right and the left are saying there's no fucking proof. The only people that are saying there's fraud and proof are the people that lost and have major things to lose. So now we have 126 people in the House, and attorneys generals and some governors, etc., who are on board with this throw the election out bullshit. Well, there's this thing called sedition. You have now just fully branded yourselves as traitors to America. How's that for you? So all I can hope for is that, well, in the past, traitors were dealt with in a fairly harsh fashion. I'm not saying that it need to be that harsh. However, they should be dealt with. And that's from Trump on down. Anybody that was behind it, anybody that was a part of it, anybody that was pushing it, anybody who is actively calling for violence over it, which is mostly Trump himself. Even if he hasn't come out and actually said it, he certainly has hinted at it. Fucking Arizona GOP literally tweets out a message saying, "Are you willing to die for your country?" or something like that. It's like, what the fuck does that mean? I mean, seriously, dudes, you lost. Get over it. Are you that fucking, is your diaper that fucking full? Son of a bitch, So like, what's going to happen now? You might get Medicare. Ooh, that's horrible. That's socialism. You don't know what the fuck socialism is. You might get COVID relief. You might get like stimulus checks, and not just one. You might get like a number of them potentially. I mean, not that I think the Democrats are going to do that either, but but you might get some extra money in your pocket. It's like, what the fuck are you afraid of? They're not coming for your guns. That's very clear. They've allowed you to have your fucking guns. The biggest thing that we're not allowing, or that we're calling you out on, is your fucking racism and your two-facedness when it comes to religion. That's what it is. That's what you're afraid of. You're afraid of getting, called out on your hypocrisy and the fact that you don't know what you're talking about. That you cherry pick your Bible verses and just sort of Jesus this and Jesus that. It's like, dude, you have no idea, do you? You really don't. Your idea of Jesus is like, Bible thumping, fucking, racist, friggin' evangelistic dogma that just doesn't make sense to anything other than your sort of scattered brain function. Is that too mean? I don't know. It is what it is, man. And I assume that, like, if I'm now that I'm doing this chat function thing, I'm probably, I would be a fool to think that this isn't pricking up the ears of some folks I'm sure I'm on an FBI list somewhere. So, hi all. You can see me now. Now you know what I look like. You can probably triangulate, right? I think that the ones that have the bigger fear, or should have the bigger fear, are career politicians who do nothing for their constituents other than get rich off of backdoor schemes and lobbying. Specifically, Mitch McConnell, someone like him. How the hell is he a multimillionaire with the salary he supposedly gets as Senate Majority Leader? How is he a millionaire? I mean, he's also been, he's a career politician. So in other words, he's done nothing for 30 fucking years, especially the past 10. He's abdicated his job. He needs to lose his job. If I did that at my job, dude, I'd be out of my ass in a minute. I think that it's going to be another interesting year coming up, especially with the vaccines that are now being touted, the 3 different ones, and the availability of it and who gets them first, and things are at a boiling point now that I think it's. I mean, I'm not sure whether the timing of this is anything to crow about. I'm thinking that's more of a happenstance than anything. Project Warp Speed was that had nothing to do with anything. That was just Trump being an idiot. And don't let it fool you. This is Trump's plague, and that's exactly what I'm going to call it. This is Trump's plague. Many and most other countries have this under control because they had leaders that put policies into place to help people out. Period. He did nothing. He abdicated his job. And senators and people that were involved in this in January that knew about it before anybody else did, they didn't take care of their constituents. They took care of themselves. Specifically, if you want to talk right now, in Georgia, the Senate runoffs. Those 2 people who basically, they bought and sold stock regarding PPE, and they didn't tell anybody. Martha Stewart went to prison for that kind of insider trading. Why the fuck aren't these people doing it? Just because they're senators? Fuck that shit. So they gotta go. It'll be interesting to see what happens. So now that there's really the only place that this could go is if it becomes a civil war. Is if the folks that have have threatened to go to war over this, that they really try to. Now, one would like to think that the FBI are on it, and I think that that's all we can kind of hope for. Is that there's enough infiltration into these well-regulated militia to shut them the fuck down. So and listen, and don't get me wrong, I have nothing. I have no qualms about people having their own, firearms as protection. I don't. It's part of it's you know it's something that is in the Constitution as a right that we have now. But again, people who take that to an extreme are a problem. There's no need for any of us to have an AR-15. You know, there just isn't. These are military grade weapons. And any fucking sniper and anybody who's an actual vet will tell you the same thing. So, now that said, you know, if we start getting roving bands of fucking Trump and idiots around with guns, shooting guns off, you know, do we have to arm ourselves at that point? Do we have to fight fire with fire and make sure we have the same firepower? Well, I know friends that are probably that are on the left. They just don't wave them around like a dickless weed. You know, they're ready to go. You know, if they had to. You know, that would be a shame. That would be awful. However, you know, the karma of this country, I think, is starting to you know, it's starting to take hold. This country has a lot to answer for, going back hundreds and hundreds of years. You know, so I think that you know, if the ones that are afraid of change, it's like, yeah, well, it's the white folk, aren't you know? And it would be nice if they could just look at the situation and think, look, you're not going to get slaughtered, but don't start anything either. Because you know, don't be stupid. You know, there are going to be people now that are looking at who you, if you put yourself out there as that person, then, you know, you've just painted yourself. We know who you are, and we'll call you out. And as I said before, that's what you're afraid of. Now we're going to call out your racism. You know? So you either crawl back into your hole or keep pushing it. You know, you're gonna get a rude awakening, because, you know, there's only so much that, like, you know, there's only so much that black folk are going to take. There's only so much that people of color are going to take. There are only so much that people of the lower and poor classes are going to take, and that's all colors. There's going to come a breaking point in this country if it hasn't. I mean, it hasn't happened yet, amazingly enough. You know, it's close. You know, it's really close. And I really would love to see that it doesn't have to get to that if people would just fucking wake up and do the right thing. You know? If the handful of billionaires, you know, the handful of billionaires, they've made so much money over the past number of months during this pandemic. They could give everybody in this country $3,000 and still be richer than they were before this all started. It wouldn't touch them. That's how fucked up that is. They could give 350 fucking million people in this country like $3,000, $3,000 or $4,000. To tide them over a little bit while this is happening, and they wouldn't bat an eye. It wouldn't touch them. You know, how sick is that? Well, how sick is it that people are have taken to shoplifting food for their families because they don't have a fucking choice? How fucked up is that in this country? You know, this isn't the richest country in the world. It just happens to house the handful of billionaires. That's all. It doesn't make us a rich country. It doesn't make the economy worth anything. You know, the economy means nothing to anybody. Most people in this country. Doesn't affect me any, whether I've got stock or not. I've got some. Doesn't affect me. I don't have that much money in stock. You know. So, you know, it's sort of like there has to come a point where it's like, you know, there has to be some regulation. There has to be some ceiling. You know, if you hit $1 billion, you win at life. There you go. That's it. Anything you make above that has to go back into the kitty for everybody else to equalize things. You know, and I'm not, I'm not saying that people, I'm not saying that people don't need to work, but it would be nice I think in general, for those of us that work our asses off on a daily basis, that we just want a fucking break, dude. We all need a break. And we all need a little cushion here. And you rich fuckers aren't helping. Especially someone like Bezos in charge of Amazon. It would take him 1 minute. It would take him, the decision would take a minute for him to just say, you know something, I need to start doing better. All of my Amazon employees will now get full health care. They're all going to be making $20 an hour. Accrued vacation time. Will allow them to unionize if that's what they want. But here's the thing, you know something? You know how do you make it so that they don't feel the need to unionize? Why don't you take care of them better? You know? If you took care of them, they wouldn't think they need to unionize, would they? Just fucking take care of them. You have a bazillion... How many $1 billion is this motherfucker worth? You could literally do that with all of your employees, and then you could probably buy every single one of them a fucking house, and it wouldn't touch you, and you'd still be making billions of dollars. And then, you know something, you'd have however many thousands of happy workers working at Amazon. How is that a problem? Why is that not win-win? You know? Same thing with the Walmart people. Same fucking thing, man. It would take 1 second to change your fucking mindset. All of a sudden just say, you know something? This is what we're going to do. Full health care. $20 an hour. Accrued vacation time. Sick time. Unionize if you want. But maybe you won't have to. Pay off a bunch of their fucking bills. You know? Give them a fucking leg up. Help them with college. You know, some companies are doing that. I mean, Walmart are doing that, but it's just like, it's not enough. The people that have come, and it's the irony is that the people that come to this country, the immigrants and things, have come to this country under a false pretense, thinking that we're this beacon of hope, and if we're a beacon of hope, Jesus Christ, it's like, okay, well, I guess, yeah, I mean, yeah, I know it could be worse. I get that. But you know something? It could be a hell of a lot goddamn better. Make racism illegal. Make it illegal. I mean, just overt racism. Just like, I mean, listen. Those of us that have grown up in this country and that have been educated in this country have even if it's quiet and slightly unconscious, we have a streak of racism in all of us, especially if you're white. And until white people figure that out, even the ones who think that they're woke, then nothing's going to change. The old adage of like, well, I have black friends. It's like, sorry, man, that's not a pass. If you don't understand and if you're not willing to be empathetic and listen for a change, then you're not doing anything. You're not woke. You're all for the status quo, whether you realize it or not. And so, yeah, a lot of things have to change for sure. But you know something? It wouldn't take much. It really wouldn't. That's the thing, man. It really wouldn't take much. It's just the willingness to do so. And then we're not willing to because we're so married to ideology. To an ideology that people don't even understand. You're a communist. You're a socialist. You're a liberal. You're a libtard or whatever. You know, it's like, all right, define every single one of those things to me first, and then call me then call me the correct thing. You know, whatever. It's like, you know, I want equity and equality for everybody. I don't care what color they are. I don't care what sexual orientation they are. You know. On the other hand, someone who espouses racist ideology are just a-okay with that inequality. That, you know, black people deserve less. People of different sexual orientations deserve less. And in deserving less, they deserve to be punished for skin pigment or sexual orientation. You know, because they don't love what you love, so that must mean they need to be punished, right? That's illness. And if it's not an illness that can be easily cured, then, you know something? Then the overt nature of it needs to be dealt with. And if it needs to be fucking illegal, like they do in Germany, you know, don't be having Nazi shit on your fucking chest, you know, some Proud Boy motherfucker. You're gonna get arrested. That's how it should be. You burn a cross and you wear a fucking hood over your head. Guess what? You're gonna get arrested, motherfucker. That's how it should be. I think people's you know, I mean, you know, a lot of work to do. And even Germany are having trouble, you know, but they're doing the right thing. What they're doing is they're looking at their police force, because they realize they've got a lot of trouble with the police force being inundated or infiltrated by, you know, Nazis or, you know, Nazi ideology. But they're looking at it. Are we? I mean, I think we have, but are we doing anything about it? That's the next step. You know, again, a lot to unpack. Oh, I'm not drinking tea, by the way, tonight. I'm drinking Gatorade. You know, but what do I know? I'm just, I just, you know, I work at a university. I'm a musician type, you know, singer, songwriter, whatever. So I shouldn't say anything, you know, because, you know, I need to stay in my lane, right? It's like, okay, right. So I can't have an opinion, right? And listen, I don't have all the answers for sure. Barely do I have all the answers, you know. More people are smarter about this than I am and have a lot more knowledge about it and energy about it. You know, I haven't been this political in a long time, and I haven't been this as serious about it. But it's like I can't. For me, it just comes down to seeing what I see happening to people, and I just can't. You know, I can't just sit by and just sort of like let it happen and just kind of go, oh well. You know, it's tempting. It's tempting to sort of pull a George Carlin and just kind of retreat. But, you know, again, he had the privilege to do that. You know, he could isolate himself and completely observe it as the entertainment that he saw it, you know, and then make his work about that. I don't have that luxury, really. But I have the equipment and I can be a big mouth here and there, so whatever. But the point is that anybody seeing this and who knows who I am, and if they see me, then they know what I'm about, for good or bad, you know. I've been confronted before. I'll be confronted again. I'm sure I'm not that worried about it, truthfully. It's just what it is. I would rather live and die my life with, you know, with some semblance of truth than living a lie, you know, or, you know, especially as it pertains to other people. Now, okay, people that know me also know me that, like, I can be a bit of a misanthrope, because there are times where I really hate the human race, I hate the species. I hate the fact that we're so easily swayed. We're such a just the organism of the human thing is just it's so delicate. It's so easily manipulated or injured. We're so I mean, we have a certain resilience on some levels, but it's fucking man. People, it just doesn't take much apparently, and that's I've seen so many. Uh, I've seen so many really smart people or seemingly intelligent people, and they've just allowed themselves to be manipulated by everything that Trump talks about. And he basically, whatever. I don't know. There's some, it's all about that cult behavior. It's just the way that he was able to con people into thinking that everything he was saying was all correct, even though it was a load of bullshit. He played on people's fear and played on people's, baser instincts, which was to be, the human instinct, which is to be defensive and combative and fearful, of other humans. Now, realistically, yeah, I'm afraid of other humans too. Believe me. Though I'm, like David Bowie put it, I'm afraid of Americans. It's like, yeah, I think that's probably more correct. It's a lot of it's very, American culture isn't. If you get my drift, yeah, I don't know. It just isn't. Could be. There's a lot of things about American culture that could be wonderful, especially in the arts and music and stuff. We could be known for really amazing shit, other than the horror that we are. Now that being said, again, we have a lot to answer for. The enslavement of the enslavement of humans from Africa, and the slaughter of the indigenous Americans here, in the under the guise of progress. Yeah, we got a lot to answer for, and I think that's what deep down maybe white people are really afraid of, that they've got a lot to answer for. Right? My cat's whinging in the background. What's the matter, Barry? He's lacking attention. He wants attention. Anyway, so that's, I've done about a half hour on politics. So I don't know. Am I still alive? Yeah, I'm still alive. So I guess going on to other topics, different topics. One of the other reasons I'm doing this sort of live chat thing is to get used to it. You get used to the idea of it, potentially, because I'm certainly not getting any younger, and the only thing that I still have that's of any use on a regular, strong level is my voice. And I'm thinking, if mainly because depending on what happens with COVID next year and with my job and everything, the nature of my job is either going to change very drastically to the degree where it's not going to be the job I signed up for, and or the job might go away. I'm in that aspect of work. Production and events are things that are currently right now just not happening because they can't. What little I can do. So I don't know. It's just I have to. I mean, I'm closing in on 20 years doing this work. There's a lot. I'd like to try to make it to the 20 years. I've still got another year to go, little over a year to go. Would be nice to actually make it to that far, but you will see. Um, but I need to start looking potentially at other things I need to that I can do. One of which I thought would be some sort of like voiceover work, or again, radio work, or announcement work, or that kind of thing. Just basically putting my voice to some use. Uh, you know, uh, um, you know, using my voice for text reading, you know, for blind folks, or folks who are who have sight issues, being able to there's a number of different outlets out there that I want to send maybe snippets of this to, of what I have, what I can do, with my voice, etc. So that's a big part of what this is about. This is kind of like about building a bit of a resume. So, um, so it'd be great to have people to chat with. There's nobody here. Oh well. I mean, once again, I'll put this up on YouTube later, up on my regular YouTube channel. I did find out. I mean, it's weird. It's like Tuesday. I was talking about John Lennon, and I was playing music on live. And I don't know. Maybe there's something about the algorithms that didn't get caught the way I did it, and then the next night I did it again, but then I got caught. The next 2 nights I tried to do it and I got caught. So I was thinking maybe it wouldn't be a problem, but it was. So I got to work on that and see if there's anything I can do about it, because I did want to try and do some sort of a Christmas Eve get together if anybody's interested. Here I am about seven episodes in. I've had nobody, literally nobody, crickets. That's fine. Again, I've played the crickets before. One has to start somewhere, I suppose. So anyway, I'm trying to work that out. I'm trying to figure out a way of maybe just doing something on Christmas Eve. I normally do certain things on my own, just looking at Christmas themed whatever, listening to Christmas themed music. Hey, excuse me. So it's Friday night. It's 8:30. I'm ready for bed. But I thought, well, why don't I do it live and see if anybody would be interested in doing, just a live chat or a live viewing of some things. I'm gonna try and do some tests and things and see what happens, just for shits and giggles. I'm not gonna tell anybody about it. I'm just gonna see what happens. Excuse me. But yeah. So I don't know. Other than that, there's not much to talk about. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. I hope people are doing well as far as the COVID stuff. At this point, we're awaiting the results of the vaccine. People that have started getting the shots, and people have to understand now that there's 2 shots. There's 1 shot, and then you wait a month, and then you do another shot. So I think there's still going to be a waiting period here. We're not through this yet. Still far too many people out and about, but unfortunately that's a mixed message that it feels like we're getting. On the one hand, they'll shut gyms down, and but yet restaurants and malls are still open, yet they're saying everybody needs to stay home. It's like, well, if we need to stay home, you need to shut shit down. I mean, and I know it becomes a situation, well, we have to work. It's like, well, yeah, that's part of the full circle thing of, then it becomes about politics again. Yeah. I think that, yeah, I mean, I don't know. All we can do is, that's all I'm trying to do at this point. I'm just trying to see if I can get through the rest of this year without catching it. or whatever. If I'm still alive in January, well, that'll be great. We'll see. So one thing I could do, just because it might be interesting, is I have a bunch of old books. I have a bunch of old journal things. Um, oh boy, yeah, I've got a bunch of I got a lot of stuff. So talk about talk about being able to fool yourself into a lot of weird areas. Um, I yeah. Hmm. Okay, I remember this one. Wow. All right, just for shits and giggles, I'm gonna recite something. So yeah, back in 1990, blah, whatever it was, I found myself a fairly ruined person on a number of levels. I was uh, I was a drinker. I was not um, diagnosed as a depressed slash generalized anxiety type of person. Definitely was not taking care of myself at all. But I was also looking for things that I had fooled myself into thinking had to be pushed, I think is the word. Now, we're talking relationship stuff now, boy. And I was always under the impression that I needed to push somewhat to show interest, right? So in other words, there's the idea of not being interested or seeming not interested, but then then it just looks like you're not interested, right? And you get mixed messages, and you get certain people telling you one thing, and then it's a different thing, and or you know what I mean. So you don't listen. I'm bad at it, is what it comes down to. Historically bad at it. Anybody who potentially was on the receiving end of you know me could attest to that. I think you know at this point I'm sort of fairly embarrassed by it all on a lot of levels, but I also have to just own it. I can't deny it, and I have to just sort of deal with it. I mean, I've got a whole album that I'm trying to finish related to this period of time, of music that I wrote in various fits and starts of mental anguish and rigor. So that's a word. Um, so it's about 8:44. I've already been up here for 45 minutes somehow. So I'm wondering. I'm just gonna read this. It's I don't know if you'd call it poetry, really. I suppose it could be called poetry. It was kind of more like performative poetry slam. But all I know is that I did read this once. I did this live at AS220 back in, it would have been 1990 blah. And during, as I was reading it, I had somebody shave my head. Because that's what you did. That's what you do, And I had some experience with the Fluxus, aesthetic. So that was a good aesthetic, Have someone shave your head because I had more hair at that time. So anyway, but so this is a pretty interesting little piece of stuff, and it's not really called anything, but I think it's just going to be called Every. You'll see for why for obvious reasons. Anyway, so this is for every wan smile, every subtle dig, every avoided encounter, every severed contact, every stolen glance, every nervous laugh, every unfelt feeling, every person unsighted, every ruined metaphor, every ruined fist, every choked emotion, every tear streaming, every tear disappearing, every forgotten demon reappearing, every shattered expectation, every expectation never mentioned, every usurious circumstance, every comfortable habit, every usurious habit, every circumstantial comfort, every usurious comfort, every habitual circumstance, every embarrassed backslide, every open wound, every infected past, every loss of grip, every weary bone, every attack of invisible napalm, every falling sun, every burning rage, every emotion buried in pauper's grave, every richer man broken again, every seething psychosis, every doubted pause, every awkward kiss, every opportunity thrown down the stairs, every stifling fear, every truth denied, every honest lie, every hidden moment, every musical impact, every coincidental touch, every wasted effort, every sparkling eye, every finger kissed, every throbbing temple, every restless night, every hopeful love, every thrown hat, every entry-level spat, every game played, every damned goodbye, every fear unchallenged, every unreasoned accusation, every hovering hell, every wall of bitterness, every layer of distrust, every lost beauty, every prison of hate, every failing wherewithal, every step forward, every cruise backward, every lack of movement, every entrenched malaise, every stupid feeling, every love so right, every love going wrong, every heart on a spear, every nail hit on the head, every raging point to be made, every time they were right, every disrupted life, every love untold, every love denied, every breathless death, every moan and cry, every drunken eye, every welling shame, every thought of someone not there, every thought of someone in pain, every brief wisp of desperation, every unequivocally respected rebuff, every failure to recognize, every jealous glare, every coward who doesn't dare, every devious plan, every tested artifice, every endless evil, every multiple mistake, every stupid remark, every word intended to mock, every made-up face, every pretty wrinkle, every gorgeous sound, every crooked ear, every fleeting song, everything to be said, every impulse to be fed, every loveless bed, every aching head, every lonely hand, every self-righteous conclusion that everything said, done, seen, intimated, felt makes a difference. I cut, I shake, I rack, I sob, I live, I breathe, I move, I survive, I apologize, I love. Every wordless feather, every feckless justification, every brainless shout, every apology to give, every apology hopefully accepted, every dream turned friend, every lucid midnight, every entanglement untangled, every bond unbroken, every screaming passion, every boring escapade, every performed embarrassment, every flickering firework, every firework unexploded, every crying heart valve, every demand being made, every wandering eye, every human need, every need under fire, every second guess, every flirting exodus, every boundary pushed, every boundary lost, every boundary slowly rebuilt, every conflicting impulse, every tipped garbage can, every breathless entrance, every futile stare, every false start, Every mad pretense, every pretentious stream, every unconscious reality, every support system, every ground untrampled, every lead followed, every duck waddling, every fish floundering, every dance step, every missed cue, every stolen existence, every nostalgic maelstrom, every chaos engaged, every invested paragraph. And that's kind of where it ends. Talk about a ramble. Yeah. And that's and the rest of the book is pretty much blank. It's pretty funny. Yeah. So, because there's that. I have a bunch of these books, and there's probably a lot of them are just blank. Yeah, pretty much. Mostly blank. I know that some aren't. I know there's some stuff from high school that's just fucking horror show that I'm not going to read. That I wouldn't read. I know I had some. Hmm. So I have this one book that was a lot of yeah, it's just a lot of weird shit. But some of it was like uh, dream imagery. Hmm. I'll have to look through these and see if there's anything that would be interesting to read. Huh. Some of which I think I also wrote while I was high on mescaline, I think. Some of this was potentially. Here's a funny one. Maybe I'll leave off with this one. It's just called Jesus. I suppose it's sort of connected. Uh, Again, this would have been written in the 80s at some point. Um, so, what if Jesus doesn't know who he is? What if he was born the way he wasn't born before? What if his father was a drunkard and his mother was a cripple? What if he killed a frog when he was 4? What if he flunked out of school? What if he had not? What if he had put sugar in the principal's car? What if he was? What if he was prone to lack of self-confidence? What if he took a drug and loved a woman? What if he made us a wish for rain secretly and it rained, never making the connection? What if Jesus rebelled and said, "To hell with you all"? Yeah, that's the end of it. It's funny, things just sort of lead into other things that have nothing to do with what that was. Yeah, it's just other just rambling, a lot of rambling, like I said. Um, hmm. Yeah, I definitely was writing. I think I was doing some stuff with. Yeah, I don't know, man. A lot of shit, a lot of stuff, a lot of writing in my early days. Oh, okay, so something about a dream. Yeah, like I said, I had a lot of dream. So this is probably the closest thing. This is an account. This is an account of a night of dreams. Hmm. All right, we're at 54 minutes. I've got 6 more minutes. So let's see if I can fill this out. It says, this is an account of a night of dreams. On a weekend much like a Beatles convention I had attended in early 1986, I saw both Mickey Dolenz and Davy Jones of the Monkees. My mother is lurking about also. This scene melds with a show being put on by the Muppets and Pete Townsend at some crowd-filled school auditorium. Wow. This whole show is a part of the Beatles convention in some way. I find myself being constantly frustrated in my attempts to talk to Dolenz or Jones. On the way back, I stop off at a bar to have a beer. There are disturbingly nice people asking if I'm driving very far. My reply doesn't seem to present itself in the dream. I find myself on my way outside only to find that my car has been stolen. I start screaming and yelling maniacally, and I fall to my knees as everything goes black. Suddenly, I'm standing in my underwear in a small but cozy kind of room talking to my sister on a wall phone. Come to find out, my mother is coming to pick me up, leaving what looks to be an asylum or rest home. Wow. I say goodbye to the piano we used to sit and sing songs on. I say goodbye to the girl with the ponytails. She is someone I had become very close to. Soon I find myself back in the house on a specific address I used to live at in West Warwick, Rhode Island. In asking about my cat, No Balls, and answering, they tell me that they never found him. I find I have been put away for 2.5 years and that okay, and then a specific person's son is almost 4 years old. End of dream. Wow, that's a that's a that's a doozy, whopper. So now I gotta wonder if was that a real dream or was I just making that shit up? That's from some funny goddamn shit. I don't know. I'm just fucking around. Like I said, I'm by myself. No one cares. Hmm. All right. Yeah, there's a lot of soul searching in this stuff. Um, hmm. Well, that's interesting. That's some interesting stuff. Uh, you know, I still have all of it. All right, so we're at 58 minutes. Had bugger all tonight. Thanks for showing up, guys. Appreciate it. um, I know, whatever. I know everybody's busy. So I'll do this tomorrow, maybe. Like I said, I may try and do some production stuff live or something. If people want to come by and check it out, they can. If not, I'm not worried about it. So the final minute well, we're at really closer to. We're actually closer to about an hour. Actually, we're in. So, all right. I guess I'm gonna just sort of call it. It's been an hour. So I'll be back tomorrow. I'm gonna put this up on YouTube as well, and people can watch it later or not. It's up to you. But I'm gonna keep doing them because I can, because I have the wherewithal, for the most part. I'm actually gonna go make some late supper because I haven't eaten yet. All right, folks, I'm done. Take it slow. Have a good night. I'll hopefully see somebody tomorrow. That'd be cool. Later.